The Price of Cupcakes. Part 1. The fluorescent lights in the ICU waiting room hummed with a frequency that matched the tremor in my hands. I'd been staring at the same crack in the linoleum floor for what felt like hours, tracing its jagged path with my eyes, watching it split and fork like the decision tree my life had become, after the accident. Before I knew what fear truly tasted like. After I learned it tastes like copper, an antiseptic, and the coffee I couldn't swallow. Daisy was 6 years old. Is 6 years old, I corrected myself, because the alternative was unthinkable. The doctors had used words like critical and trauma and wait and see, each phrase landing like a stone in my chest. My daughter, my fierce, gap-toothed daughter who still believed in fairies and insisted on wearing mismatched socks because it makes them more interesting, was behind those double doors with tubes and wires and machines doing the work her small body couldn't manage on its own. The accident had happened so fast. One moment we were singing along to her favorite song, her voice bright and off-key in the back seat. The next, there was the screech of tires, the sickening crunch of metal, and then silence. The kind of silence that swallows worlds whole. I'd crawled out of the front seat with nothing but a cut on my forehead. Daisy hadn't made a sound. My phone buzzed in my lap, and I looked down at it with the detached curiosity of someone watching events happen to a stranger. A text message. From Mom. Emma, don't forget the cupcakes for Lily's class party tomorrow. Chocolate with vanilla frosting. The bakery closes at 6. I read it once, twice, 3 times, waiting for the words to rearrange themselves into something that made sense in the context of my current reality. My daughter was fighting for her life 20 feet away, and my mother wanted me to remember cupcakes. For my niece, my sister's daughter, for a school party. I typed back with shaking fingers, Daisy is in ICU. Car accident, critical condition. The response came within seconds. Oh, honey, I'm sure she'll be fine. Kids are resilient. But really, about those cupcakes, your sister is counting on you. You know how she gets. I stared at the message until the screen blurred. Then I set the phone face down on the chair beside me and went back to studying the crack in the floor. A doctor emerged from the double doors, and I was on my feet before I knew I was moving. She was young, with kind eyes that had seen too much. And when she looked at me, I couldn't breathe. Mrs. Morrison? Daisy is stable for now. We've intubated her to help with breathing, and we're monitoring her closely. The next 24 hours are critical. You can see her in a few minutes, but I need to prepare you. Can she hear me? My voice came out as a rasp. We believe so. Talk to her. Let her know you're there. When they finally let me in, I wasn't prepared. You can never be prepared to see your child like that. So small in that big bed, her face pale against the white pillow, her chest rising and falling with mechanical precision. A ventilator breathed for her. An IV dripped clear fluid into her tiny arm. Monitors beeped and flashed with numbers I didn't understand, but watched obsessively anyway, as if my attention alone could keep them steady. I took her hand, the one without the IV, and it was warm. That warmth broke something in me. Some dam I'd been holding back since the moment of impact. She was warm. She was alive. She was here. Hey, baby girl, I whispered, my voice cracking. It's Mommy. I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere, okay? You just rest. You just focus on getting better. I love you so much. So much. Her fingers twitched in mine. Or maybe I imagined it. I needed to believe she could hear me, that somewhere behind those closed eyelids, my daughter was still there, still fighting. My phone buzzed again. I'd forgotten I had it in my pocket. Another text from Mom. Emma, this is important. I need an answer about the cupcakes. The party is at 10 a.m. tomorrow. I turned the phone off without responding. Part 2. The summoning. They kept Daisy sedated through the night. The nurses were kind, bringing me blankets and water I didn't drink. I sat in that chair beside her bed, holding her hand, watching the monitors and praying to a God I wasn't sure I believed in. I made bargains. I made promises. I would be better, do better, give up anything if she would just open her eyes. Around 3 a.m., a nurse named Patricia came to check Daisy's vitals. She had gray hair pulled back in a neat bun and the calm competence of someone who'd spent decades in these rooms. "You should try to rest," she said gently, adjusting the IV flow. "She's stable. We'll wake you if anything changes." "I can't," I said. "What if she wakes up and I'm not here? What if she's scared?" Patricia smiled, and there was real warmth in it. "You're a good mother. She's lucky to have you." I started crying then. Not the quiet tears that had been leaking from my eyes all night, but deep, shaking sobs that came from somewhere primal. She handed me tissues and let me cry. And when I finally calmed down, she squeezed my shoulder. "She's going to fight," Patricia said. "I can see it. She's a fighter, like her mama." I wanted to believe her. When morning came, Daisy's condition was unchanged. Critical but stable, the doctors said during rounds. They were pleased she'd made it through the night. They were cautiously optimistic. They wanted to run more tests. Everything was wait and see. I called my work and told them I wouldn't be in. I called Daisy's school. I called my ex-husband, Daisy's father, who lived 3 states away with his new wife. He said he'd try to get a flight, but it might be a few days. There was a work thing. He was sure she'd be fine. Everyone was sure she'd be fine. I turned my phone back on to check if the hospital had tried to reach me. Instead, I found 17 missed calls. 12 from my mother, 3 from my sister Rachel, 2 from my father. There was also a text from Rachel. "Are you seriously ignoring Mom about the cupcakes? This is Lily's first-class party as room parent. I need those cupcakes, Emma. Stop being dramatic." Dramatic. My 6-year-old daughter was on a ventilator and I was being dramatic. I called my mother back. She answered on the first ring. "Emma, finally. I've been trying to reach you all night. Where have you been?" "At the hospital, Mom, with Daisy, like I told you." "Right. Yes, the accident. How is she?" There was a perfunctory note to her voice. She was checking off her box on a list. "Ask about granddaughter. Check. She's in critical condition. She's on a ventilator. My voice broke. It's really bad, Mom." "Oh, I'm sure the doctors are just being cautious. You know how they are, always worst-case scenario. When Rachel's Lily fell off the jungle gym last year, they made such a fuss, and she was perfectly fine. Lily had sprained her wrist. Did you get the cupcakes?" Mom continued. "Because if you can't, I need to know so I can figure out an alternative. The party isn't 2 hours." I looked at my daughter, at the tube down her throat, at the machines keeping her alive. "No," I said. "I didn't get the cupcakes." The silence on the other end was sharp enough to cut. "Emma," my mother's voice dropped to that tone I knew too well, the one that had shaped my childhood. Disappointment mixed with warning. "Your sister is depending on you. This is important to her. Can't you just run out for an hour? I'm sure Lily won't even know you're gone." "I'm not leaving my daughter." "You're being selfish. This isn't just about you. Lily has been looking forward to this party for weeks, and Rachel has been planning. My daughter almost died yesterday. She's on a machine that's breathing for her. I am not leaving her side to buy cupcakes for a first-grade party." "Fine." Mom's voice went cold. "Fine, Emma. Be that way. But don't come crying to me when Rachel is upset. You know how stressed she gets." She hung up. I sat there with the phone in my hand, watching Daisy's chest rise and fall with mechanical rhythm, and something shifted inside me. Something small but significant, like the first crack in a frozen lake. Part 3. The invasion. They showed up at noon. I heard them before I saw them. My mother's voice carrying down the ICU corridor, completely inappropriate in volume and tone. The nurse at the station was trying to tell them something about visiting hours and immediate family only, but Mom has never been one to accept boundaries. "I am immediate family. That's my daughter and my granddaughter. I have every right." I stepped out of Daisy's room, closing the door gently behind me. Mom and Rachel stood at the nurse's station. Mom in her church clothes, she always dressed up when she wanted to intimidate, and Rachel in yoga pants and a stained sweatshirt, her face tight with anger. "Emma." Mom spotted me and strode forward, heels clicking. "We need to talk." "This isn't a good time. We drove all the way here. The least you can do is give us 5 minutes." Patricia appeared at my elbow. "Mrs. Morrison, is everything all right?" "It's fine," I said, though it wasn't. They're my family." Patricia's eyes said she understood more than I'd spoken. "There's a family consultation room down the hall. Would you like to speak there? We need to keep this area quiet for the patients." Mom looked offended, but she followed. We filed into a small room with institutional furniture and a box of tissues on the table. The tissues felt like a bad omen. "How is she?" Mom asked, sitting down and arranging her purse on her lap. "Have they said when she'll wake up?" "The doctors are hopeful, but—" Good. So about the cupcakes." Rachel leaned forward. "I had to buy store brand from the grocery store. Do you know how that made me look? Lily cried, Emma. She cried because her cupcakes weren't as pretty as the other kids." I stared at her. "Daisy is on a ventilator." "We know that," Mom said, her tone suggesting I was being slow. "But you have to understand, these things happen, and life goes on. Rachel has responsibilities. You can't just abandon your commitments because my daughter is fighting for her life." "You're being dramatic again." Rachel rolled her eyes. "You always do this. Make everything about you. It was a car accident. Accidents happen. She's going to be fine, but you completely ruined Lily's party." The words hung in the air between us, so absurd that I almost laughed. "Almost. Get out," I said quietly. "Excuse me?" Mom's eyebrows rose. "Get out." Louder this time. "I want you to leave now." "Emma, don't be ridiculous. Do you even hear yourselves? My daughter is in there with a tube down her throat, and you came here to yell at me about cupcakes. About a 6-year-old's birthday party?" "Lily is 6 too," Rachel said defensively. "Her feelings matter just as much as Daisy's. Lily is healthy. Lily is at school. Lily is breathing on her own." I was shaking now. "Daisy might die. Do you understand that? She might not wake up. And you want to talk to me about grocery store cupcakes?" Mom stood up, her face hard. "Lower your voice. You're making a scene." "I don't care." "Obviously, you never care about anyone but yourself. We came here to support you, and this is how you treat us? Support me?" The laugh that came out of me was broken, jagged. "You haven't asked about her once." "Not really. You haven't asked what happened, or what the doctor said, or how I'm doing. You came here to guilt me about a fucking baking errand." Mom's face flushed. "Do not use that language with me." "Then leave. I'm done. I'm done with this conversation, done with this guilt trip, done with all of it." "Fine." Mom grabbed her purse. "Come on, Rachel. Your sister clearly needs time to calm down." Rachel stood, but she paused at the door. "You know what, Emma? You always do this. Play the victim, act like everything is harder for you than everyone else. Mom and Dad have been so patient with you, but you just throw it back in their faces." "Patient?" The word came out as a whisper. "I've spent my entire life trying to earn something from you people that you're never going to give me. Trying to be good enough, helpful enough, selfless enough. And it's never enough, is it? Because no matter what I do, no matter what I sacrifice, you'll always need more." "We're your family," Mom said from the doorway. And she actually sounded hurt, as if she believed it. Family helps each other. Help goes both ways. Or it's supposed to. When you're ready to apologize, you know where to find us. They left. I stood in that small room, shaking, tears streaming down my face, and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Relief. Part 4. The realization. I went back to Daisy's room. Patricia was there, checking the monitors, and when she looked up and saw my face, she didn't say anything. She just nodded, a small gesture that somehow conveyed understanding, solidarity, permission to fall apart. "They're gone," I said unnecessarily. "Good," Patricia said. And there was no judgment in it, just simple fact. I sank into the chair beside Daisy's bed and took her hand again. Her fingers were still warm, her chest still rose and fell, the monitors still beeped their steady rhythm. "I'm sorry, baby girl. I'm sorry you had to be here for that. I'm sorry they—" I couldn't finish the sentence. My phone buzzed. Another text from Mom. "You owe your sister an apology. This behavior is unacceptable." Then Rachel. "Lily is crying again. I hope you're happy." Then Dad. "Your mother is very upset. Call her and apologize." I looked at the messages, one after another, and saw them clearly for the first time. Not requests, not even demands, just the assumption that my pain, my fear, my daughter's life were all secondary to their comfort, their needs, their feelings. How long had it been like this? Always, I realized. It had always been like this. I thought about all the times I'd dropped everything to help. The nights I'd babysat Lily so Rachel could have date nights, the money I'd loaned Dad that was never repaid, the holidays I'd hosted, the meals I'd cooked, the errands I'd run, the 1,000 small sacrifices I'd made, believing that if I just did enough, gave enough, they would finally see me, love me, value me. But love doesn't keep score, and what I'd been receiving wasn't love at all. It was use. I opened my contacts and found Mom's number, then Rachel's, then Dad's. One by one, I blocked them all. My hands were steady as I did it. No hesitation, no second guessing. Just a clean, clear decision that felt like opening a window in a stuffy room. When it was done, I set the phone down and looked at my daughter. Really looked at her. At her small nose and the freckles dusted across her cheeks, at her hair tangled on the pillow because she'd insisted on wearing it in a braid yesterday morning and I'd been in a hurry, at her fingernails still painted with the glittery purple polish we'd applied together over the weekend, giggling as we made a mess. She was real. She was here. She was mine. And she deserved a mother who chose her. Not someday, not when it was convenient. Now. "Just you and me, Daisy girl," I said softly. "From now on, it's just you and me. And we're going to be okay. We're going to be better than okay." Patricia came back in later to change an IV bag. She worked in comfortable silence for a moment, then said, "You know, I've been a nurse for 30 years, seen a lot of families in crisis. And you know what I've learned?" I looked up at her. "The people who show up in the first hour tell you everything you need to know about them. Not the ones who come later with excuses, not the ones who send flowers and call it love. The ones who drop everything and come running, those are your people. My ex-husband said he'd try to get here in a few days. My parents came to yell at me about cupcakes." Patricia nodded. "And you're here, been here since the moment it happened, haven't left her side. That tells me everything I need to know about you." I blocked their numbers. "My family. Is that crazy?" "Honey, crazy is coming to an ICU to complain about party supplies. What you did, that's called setting boundaries. And it's about damn time if you ask me." She left me alone with my daughter, and I sat there in the quiet, listening to the machines, feeling the weight lift off my shoulders 1 degree at a time. Part 5. The Vigil. Night came again. The lights in the ICU dimmed, but never went fully dark. Somewhere down the hall, another family was having their worst day. I could hear crying, muffled and distant. I said a prayer for them, whoever they were. Daisy's numbers stayed stable. The doctor came by during evening rounds and said they were pleased with her progress. Small steps. No promises, but progress. I called my ex again, got voicemail, left a message updating him on Daisy's condition. Mentioned that he should probably try to get here sooner rather than later. Didn't mention my family. That wasn't his problem anymore. We'd divorced 3 years ago, amicably enough. He'd wanted things I couldn't give him, adventure, spontaneity, a wife who put him first. I'd wanted things he couldn't give me: stability, partnership, a husband who didn't resent his own daughter for existing. So we'd split, and he'd moved away, and I'd rebuilt our life into something smaller but sturdier. Daisy and I had been doing fine, better than fine. We had our routines, our inside jokes, our traditions. Pizza and movies on Friday nights, pancakes shaped like animals on Saturday mornings, reading together every night before bed, her warm weight against my side as we traveled to other worlds. We had each other, and maybe that had always been enough. Maybe it was everyone else I'd been struggling to satisfy, trying to prove I wasn't failing just because I was doing it alone. Patricia came by around midnight with coffee and a sandwich. "You need to eat," she said, setting them on the small table beside me. "Can't take care of her if you don't take care of yourself." "Thank you." I took the coffee, grateful for the warmth in my hands. "Your family hasn't come back," she observed. Not quite a question. "No." I blocked their numbers. "Good." We sat in companionable silence for a moment. "Can I tell you something?" Patricia said. "Years ago, I had a patient. Little boy, about Daisy's age. Terrible accident, just like this. His mother never left his side. Not once. Slept in that chair, just like you're doing. Her family thought she was crazy. Said she needed to go home, shower, get some rest, take care of her other kids. What happened? She stayed. And on the third day, that little boy opened his eyes and asked for his mama. And she was right there." Patricia smiled. "He's 17 now, plays baseball, honor roll student. His mama sent me a Christmas card every year for a decade after, saying she'll never forget the nurse who told her to trust her instincts. Is that what you're telling me? I'm telling you that you know your daughter better than anyone, and if your instincts say to stay, then stay. Forget what anyone else thinks you should do. This is where you need to be." After she left, I thought about all the times I'd ignored my instincts. All the times I'd swallowed my anger, my hurt, my needs, because someone else's comfort seemed more important. Because keeping the peace was what good daughters, good sisters, good people did. But where had that gotten me? Here, sitting alone in an ICU, with a daughter fighting for her life and a family that couldn't be bothered to care? No, that wasn't right. I wasn't alone. Daisy was here. And even unconscious, even silent, even as small and fragile as she looked in that hospital bed, her presence was more real, more solid, more loving than anything my family had ever given me. I squeezed her hand. "I'm here, baby. I'm right here." And this time, I was sure, her fingers squeezed back. Part 6. The Breaking Light. The morning of the second day arrived with cautious optimism from the medical team. Daisy's oxygen levels were improving, her pupils were reactive. She was showing signs of neurological response. "We'd like to try reducing the sedation," Dr. Chen told me during morning rounds. "See if she can breathe on her own. It's a good sign that we can even consider this. Her body is fighting, Mrs. Morrison." "What do I do?" My voice shook. "Talk to her. Let her hear your voice. If she's ready to wake up, she'll come back to you." They reduced the medications slowly, carefully, monitoring every change. I held Daisy's hand and talked about everything and nothing. About the stories we'd read together, about the garden we'd planted last spring and how the tomatoes had grown wild and tangled, about the way she laughed, her whole body shaking with it, about how much I loved her, how proud I was of her, how brave she was. "You're the best thing that ever happened to me, the very best thing. And I'm so sorry if I ever made you feel like you weren't enough, if I ever made you feel like you had to share me with people who didn't deserve us. From now on, it's different, I promise. You and me, Daisy girl, that's all that matters." Her eyelids fluttered. I froze, afraid to breathe, afraid to hope. They fluttered again, then opened, just a crack. Confused, disoriented, searching. "I'm here, baby. Mommy's here." Her eyes found mine, focused, recognized. The machines began to beep as her breathing changed, fighting against the ventilator. Dr. Chen was there immediately, checking, assessing. "She's ready," she said. "Daisy, we're going to take this tube out now. It might feel uncomfortable, but your mama's right here. Can you be brave for me?" The next few minutes were terrible and beautiful. Daisy gagged and coughed as they removed the tube, her small body straining with the effort. I wanted to grab her, hold her, take all the discomfort into myself. But all I could do was hold her hand and tell her she was safe, she was okay, I was here. And then it was done. The tube was out. Oxygen mask on instead. Her breathing rapid, but her own breath, her own strength. "Mama?" Her voice was barely a rasp, raw from the intubation. "Right here, baby. Right here." "It hurts." "I know, sweetheart. I know, but you're so brave. You're doing so good. Don't leave." "Never. I'm never leaving you, I promise." She closed her eyes again, exhausted from the effort, but her hands stayed tight in mine. Real, warm, alive. Patricia appeared in the doorway, tears shining in her eyes. "I told you she was a fighter." I couldn't speak, could only nod and cry and hold my daughter's hand and feel the weight of what I'd almost lost. Part 7. The Aftermath. They moved Daisy out of the ICU 2 days later, into a regular pediatric room with sunshine yellow walls and pictures of cartoon characters. She was weak, tired, but improving. The doctors used the word miraculous more than once. I called my ex again. He finally answered. "I heard she's doing better," he said. "That's great, really great. I was worried, but, with work and everything." "She asked for you," I said. "When she first woke up, after she asked for me, she asked where Daddy was." Silence. "I'm sorry," he said finally. "I should have been there. I wanted to, but I know, there was a work thing. It's not an excuse. No, it's not. I'll come next weekend. I promise. I'll take her to that ice cream place she likes, the one with the bubblegum flavor. And Emma, I'm sorry. For all of it. You deserved better. She deserves better." "Yes," I said. "She does." I didn't hear from my family. The silence from that corner of my life was absolute, and I was surprised to find it didn't hurt the way I'd expected. Instead, it felt like space, like possibility, like the clean slate I hadn't known I needed. Daisy recovered slowly. Physical therapy to rebuild strength, occupational therapy to help with fine motor skills affected by the trauma. Therapy, because 6-year-olds have nightmares after experiences like this, and we needed someone to help her process the fear. But she laughed again. That was the thing that made me cry with relief. 3 days after waking up, she laughed at something the nurse said, and it was her laugh. Her whole body shaking laugh, and I knew she was going to be okay. We were going to be okay. One evening, about a week after the accident, Patricia came by during her shift, even though she wasn't assigned to our floor. "Just wanted to check on my favorite patient," she said, bringing Daisy a stuffed bear. "How are we doing, sweetness? I can walk to the bathroom by myself now. With the walker thing." "That's wonderful. You're so strong." Patricia turned to me. "Can I talk to you outside for a minute?" In the hallway, she handed me a piece of paper with a phone number. "Therapist friend of mine. Specializes in family dynamics and boundary setting. I think you might benefit from talking to someone." "About everything that happened? The accident?" "Not just the accident." I took the paper. "Thank you for everything. You've been more family to me this week than—" I couldn't finish. "I know, honey. I know. You're doing great. Both of you. Don't forget that." After she left, I sat on the uncomfortable couch bed thing they'd set up for me and looked at that phone number. Thought about calling. Thought about all the years of conditioning, of guilt, of making myself smaller to keep everyone else comfortable. Then I thought about Daisy, asking me not to leave. I pulled out my phone and sent a text to the number Patricia had given me. "I need help setting boundaries with my family. Can we talk?" The response came quickly. "Absolutely. Let's set up a time." Part 8. The Choice. We went home 3 weeks after the accident. Daisy still tired easily, still had nightmares sometimes, but she was healing. Her body knew what to do, the doctors said. Just needed time and rest and love. I set up her bedroom like a fortress of safety. Nightlights in every corner, her favorite stuffed animals arranged on the bed, books stacked within easy reach. Everything familiar, everything safe. That first night home, I made her favorite dinner, spaghetti with the fancy noodles shaped like bow ties, and we ate on the couch watching her favorite movie for the 100th time. She fell asleep against my shoulder, her breath warm and even, and I sat there, not wanting to move, not wanting to break the spell of her aliveness. My phone, the one I'd silenced weeks ago, buzzed from the kitchen counter where I'd left it. I'd unblocked the numbers that morning, uncertain and hesitant, thinking maybe, possibly, there would be messages asking about Daisy, checking on us, apologizing. When Daisy was safely in bed, I checked. 17 messages from my mother. Are you really going to keep this up? Your father had to take blood pressure medication because of your attitude. Rachel is beside herself. This is childish. When are you going to grow up and apologize? Nothing asking about Daisy. Nothing about the accident. Nothing about whether we were home, whether she was okay, whether we needed anything. Just accusations, just demands, just the same song on infinite repeat. I felt nothing. Not anger, not hurt. Just a kind of distant sadness for the relationship I'd wanted, but never had. The family that existed in my hopes, but not in reality. I typed one message and sent it to all three of them. Daisy is home from the hospital. She's recovering well. If you want to be part of her life going forward, things need to change. If you can't respect us, respect our boundaries, and show actual care for what we've been through, then I need distance. The choice is yours. But I'm done sacrificing my daughter's well-being and my own peace for performances of family that aren't real. I didn't wait for responses. I put the phone away and went to check on Daisy. She was sleeping peacefully, one arm thrown over her head, her mouth slightly open. So alive, so precious, so worth every difficult choice I'd made. Part 9. The silence. They didn't respond for 3 days. Then my father called. I almost didn't answer, but some part of me still hoped, still wanted to believe that maybe this time would be different, that maybe almost losing Daisy had woken them up to what mattered. Emma, his voice was tight. Your mother is very upset. Hello to you too, Dad. This has gone on long enough. You need to apologize and stop this nonsense. Did you read my message? Did you hear what I said? I heard that my daughter is holding her family hostage because she's upset about cupcakes. I laughed. I couldn't help it. The absurdity of it all reduced to that one word. Cupcakes. Daisy almost died, Dad. She was in a medically induced coma, on a ventilator, and Mom came to the hospital to yell at me about baked goods for Rachel's kid. Do you understand how insane that is? Your mother was trying to help your sister. You were being selfish. Selfish. I repeated the word, tasting it. Yeah, maybe I am selfish. Maybe choosing my critically injured child over a first-grade party is selfish. Maybe refusing to play nice with people who have never, not once, put my needs or my daughter's needs above their own convenience is selfish. If that's what selfish means, then fine. I'm selfish. We raised you better than this. No, Dad. You raised me to shut up and serve, to make myself small, to put everyone else first, no matter what it cost me. And I'm done. I am so done. If this is how you want it to be, this is how you made it. I just stopped pretending it was something else. He hung up. I waited for the guilt, for the panic, for the voice that had lived in my head my whole life, telling me I was wrong, I was bad. I had to fix this. It didn't come. Instead, I felt light, lighter than I'd been in years. Part 10. The Healing. 3 months after the accident, Daisy started first grade. I was terrified to let her out of my sight, but the therapist, both hers and mine, said it was important for her recovery, important for both of our recoveries. She was nervous that first morning, clutching her backpack with white knuckles. "What if I'm not strong enough yet?" she asked. "What if I get tired?" I knelt down to her eye level. "Then you tell the teacher you need to rest, and she'll call me, and I'll come get you. No questions asked. You're in charge of your body, Daisy girl. You know what you need. And you'll answer your phone? Always, I promise." She thought about this and nodded. "Okay, I can be brave. You're the bravest person I know." She made it through the whole day, came home tired but proud, talking a mile a minute about the friends she'd made and the books in the classroom and the art project they'd started. And watching her, listening to her, I felt something unlock in my chest. We were going to be okay. Better than okay. We were going to be free. My mother tried once more, a month after that. Showed up at the house unannounced with Rachel and Lily in tow. I saw them through the window and didn't answer the door. "Emma, open up!" Mom's voice carried through the wood. "We know you're in there. This has gone on long enough." I stood on the other side, hand resting against the door, feeling the vibration of her knocking. Daisy was at the kitchen table doing homework, and she looked up at the sound, her eyes wide. "Who is it, Mommy?" "Just someone we don't need to see right now, baby." The knocking continued, then Rachel's voice. "We brought Lily to see Daisy. They're cousins. You can't keep them apart." Through the window, I could see Lily looking confused and uncomfortable, holding her mother's hand. She was just a kid. None of this was her fault. But I wouldn't open that door and let the chaos back in. Not when we'd finally found peace. "I'm calling the police if you don't leave," I called through the door. I asked for boundaries. I asked for respect. You showing up here unannounced is neither of those things. "You're being ridiculous," Mom said, but I could hear the uncertainty creeping into her voice. "I'm being clear. Leave, now. If you want a relationship with us, you know what needs to happen, but it starts with respecting this boundary." There was silence, then footsteps retreating, the sound of car doors, an engine starting. I watched them drive away, then went back to the kitchen where Daisy sat with her pencil hovering over her math worksheet. "Was that Grandma?" she asked quietly. I'd been honest with her, age-appropriately, about why we weren't seeing my family right now, how sometimes people who love you don't know how to show it in healthy ways, how we were taking space to heal and be safe. "Yes, honey." "Are you sad?" I thought about it. Really thought about it. "No," I said, and meant it. "I'm not sad." "Me neither." She went back to her homework. "Can we have pizza tonight?" "Absolutely." Part 11. The Growth. Therapy helped, both kinds. Daisy worked through her trauma with a play therapist who let her use dolls and drawings to process what had happened. She had nightmares less frequently. Slowly, the fear in her eyes when we got in the car began to fade. My therapy was different, harder. It meant looking at patterns I'd spent 35 years building, behaviors I'd perfected to survive a family system that demanded my compliance. It meant grieving the parents I'd wanted but never had, the childhood I deserved but didn't get. "You weren't loved conditionally," my therapist, Dr. Sarah, told me. "You were loved transactionally. As long as you provided what they needed, you received something that looked like love. But real love doesn't require you to set yourself on fire to keep others warm." I keep waiting to feel guilty, I admitted, for cutting them off, for choosing us over them. But I don't. That's not apathy. That's healing. I started building a different kind of family. The neighbors who'd brought casseroles when we got home from the hospital, Daisy's teacher who checked in weekly, Patricia who still texted every few days. My coworker Jennifer, who invited us to her daughter's birthday party and didn't bat an eye when Daisy needed to leave early because she was tired. People who showed up. People who cared without keeping score. People who understood that love was a verb, not a noun. 6 months after the accident, my ex-husband actually visited, stayed for a weekend, took Daisy to the zoo, brought her back tired and happy. He pulled me aside before leaving. I talked to my therapist about why I wasn't there at the hospital, why I'm never there when it counts. Okay?
She said I was scared, that seeing Daisy like that would make it too real, that I could lose her, that I've been keeping my distance because if I don't love her too much, it won't hurt as much if something happens. He wiped his eyes. That's fucked up, right? Yeah, but at least you're looking at it. I want to do better. I want to be the dad she deserves. Can we try? Can I come more often? I looked at him, this man I'd once loved, once built a life with, once believed would be my forever. He'd hurt us, disappointed us, failed us when we needed him most. But he was trying. And unlike my family, he was actually doing the work to change. We can try, I said. But Daisy comes first, always. If you commit to coming, you show up. If you make a promise, you keep it. No more excuses about work things and inconvenient timing. Deal. He kept his word. Started visiting twice a month, started calling Daisy every Sunday, started being present in the small, consistent ways that mattered. People could change, but only if they chose to. Only if they looked at their behavior and decided it wasn't good enough. Only if they valued the relationship more than their ego. My family never made that choice. Part 12. The Reckoning. A year after the accident, Rachel sent a text. Not to my phone. I had blocked that again after the doorstep ambush, but through Facebook Messenger, which I'd forgotten to block. Lily has been asking about Daisy. They used to be so close. Can we talk? I stared at the message for a long time. Daisy and Lily had been close once, before I learned to see clearly, before I understood that even those innocent cousin playdates came with strings attached. Expectations that I'd babysit whenever needed, host whenever asked, give and give and give without ever receiving. I typed and deleted 3 responses before settling on, if you want to talk about rebuilding a relationship, I'm open to that. But it requires acknowledging what happened and why I set boundaries. It requires actual change, not just missing the convenience of having me available. Are you willing to do that work? The response came quickly. I don't think I did anything wrong. You're the one who cut us all off over a misunderstanding. There it was. The same script. The same refusal to see. Then we have nothing to talk about, I wrote back. When you're ready to look honestly at how you treated me and Daisy during the worst moment of our lives, I'll be here. But I won't pretend it didn't happen. I won't minimize it to make you comfortable. Those are my terms. I blocked her on Facebook too. Daisy came home from school that day with a picture she'd drawn. 2 stick figures holding hands under a rainbow. One tall, one small. That's us, she said proudly. My family. It's beautiful, baby girl. Teacher said to draw our family. Some kids drew lots of people. I just drew us. She looked at me with those serious eyes. That's okay, right? That it's just us? I pulled her close, breathing in the scent of her shampoo, feeling the solid reality of her in my arms. Alive, thriving, becoming herself in a way that never would have been possible if I'd stayed stuck in that old pattern. That's more than okay, I said. That's perfect. Part 13. The anniversary. The 1-year anniversary of the accident came with spring rain and cherry blossoms. I'd been dreading it, expecting it to hit hard, but Daisy had been seeing it differently. It's my alive day, she announced at breakfast. Like a birthday, but for when I stayed alive. Where did you hear that? My friend Maya in group therapy. She had cancer, and now she's better. And every year on the day she finished treatment, her family celebrates her Alive Day. Can we do that?
So we did. We made her favorite dinner. We decorated the house with streamers. We invited the people who mattered. Patricia and her husband, Daisy's teacher, Ms. Rodriguez, our neighbors, the Chens, Jennifer and her daughter. No family. None from my side. But the house was full anyway. Full of people who'd shown up, who cared, who celebrated my daughter's existence without needing anything in return. We went around the table sharing what we were grateful for. When it was my turn, I looked at Daisy, at her bright eyes and her smile, and the scar on her forehead that was fading but would always be there. "I'm grateful," I said, voice thick with emotion, "that I get to be your mom. And I'm grateful that this terrible thing taught me who my real family is." I gestured around the table. "It's all of you. The people who show up, the people who care without conditions, the people who understand that love is a choice you make every day." Patricia raised her glass. "To Daisy, the strongest little girl I know." "To Daisy," everyone echoed. Later, after everyone left and Daisy was asleep, I sat on the back porch with a cup of tea and my journal. Dr. Sarah had encouraged me to write, to process, to document this journey. I wrote, "A year ago, I almost lost everything. And in not losing it, I learned what everything actually meant. Not the family I was born into, not the obligations I'd carried like stones, but this life I'm building with my daughter, this peace I'm protecting, this boundary I'm maintaining." They say blood is thicker than water, but the full quote is, "The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb." The bonds we choose, the family we make, the love we build intentionally, that's what matters. I thought I was supposed to feel guilty, broken, like something was wrong with me for walking away. Instead, I feel whole. Part 14. The letter. 18 months after the accident, my father showed up alone. No knocking this time, just a text. "I'm outside. Can we talk?" Just me, no ambush. I looked out the window. He sat in his car, looking older than I remembered, tired. I could have ignored him, could have maintained the boundary, but something in me was curious. I texted back, "Coffee shop on Main Street, 30 minutes. Just you." I dropped Daisy at her friend's house for a play date. She was doing those now, had built her own little community of second-grade companions, and met him at the neutral territory of Java Joe's. He looked uncomfortable in his pressed khakis and polo shirt, out of place among the college students and remote workers. I ordered my coffee and sat down across from him. "Thanks for meeting me," he said. "I have an hour." He nodded, wrapped his hands around his mug. "Your mother doesn't know I'm here." "Okay."
She'd be angry if she did. She thinks... He stopped, started again. "She thinks you'll come around, that you're being stubborn, that you'll get over it and things will go back to normal. They won't." "I know." He met my eyes. "I know that now. And I think that might be my fault." I waited. I let her... He struggled with the words. "I let her run things, make the rules, decide how our family worked. It was easier. She's so strong, so certain about everything. And I'm not. I never have been. So I just went along. Even when she was wrong, even then." He looked down at his coffee. "Emma, what happened in that hospital? I didn't understand it at first. I thought you were overreacting. But I've been thinking about it. A lot. And I realized something." "What?" "If it had been me in that hospital, with one of you girls, fighting for your life, and someone had asked me to leave to run an errand, I would have told them to go to hell." His voice cracked. "And the fact that your mother expected you to do it, that she thought it was reasonable, and that I backed her up, that's not right. That's not family." I felt something shift in my chest. Not forgiveness, not yet, but recognition. The acknowledgement I'd needed.
You should have been there for me, I said quietly. When I was growing up, when I needed a dad to protect me from her impossible standards, her constant criticism, her need to control everything, you should have stood up for me. I know. And you should have been there in that hospital. You should have told her she was wrong. You should have protected me and Daisy. I know. Tears rolled down his face. I failed you. I am sorry. We sat in silence for a moment. What do you want from me? Why are you here? I want to know my granddaughter. I want, if you'll let me, to try to have a relationship with you that's real. Not the one your mother orchestrates. Not the one where everyone plays their parts. A real one. That means change, Dad. Real change. You can't just say you want it. You have to do it. I'm in therapy. Started 3 months ago. Individual, not couples. Your mother doesn't approve, but I'm going anyway. That's a start. I know I have no right to ask this. But could I see Daisy sometime? Take her for ice cream or something. Just me. I want to get to know who she really is. I thought about it. About the risks, about the possibility that he'd disappoint us. Fall back into old patterns. Choose my mother over us when it came down to it. But I also thought about second chances, about the fact that people could grow, could change if they were willing to do the work. My ex had proved that. Supervised visits. At my house, with me present. If that goes well for a few months, we can talk about more. Yes. Thank you. And Dad, if you break her heart, if you make promises you don't keep, if you choose Mom's comfort over Daisy's well-being, we're done. For good. No third chances. Understood? Understood.
Part 15, The Truth. He came once a week for 3 months. Brought books and read to Daisy, helped her with art projects, listened to her stories about school and friends and her gymnastics class. He was gentle with her, patient, present in a way I'd never seen him be when I was growing up. During the 4th visit, Daisy was in the backyard playing, and my father and I sat on the porch drinking lemonade. She's wonderful, he said. You've done an amazing job with her. Thank you. I missed this with you, didn't I? Actually knowing you, being present. Yeah, you did. He was quiet for a moment. Your mother called me weak yesterday, said I was betraying the family by coming here, that you'd brainwashed me. What did you say? I said that maybe being strong means admitting when you're wrong, and that our family was broken long before Emma set boundaries. We just forced her to pretend it wasn't. He looked at me. She didn't take that well. I imagine not. We're probably going to separate, maybe divorce. I've been sleeping in the guest room for a month. She won't go to couples therapy, won't even admit there's a problem. According to her, the only problem is you. I'm sorry, I said, and meant it. Don't be. This has been a long time coming. I just didn't have the courage to face it before. He watched Daisy chase a butterfly across the yard. You gave me that. Your courage. Watching you choose yourself and Daisy, set those boundaries, refuse to accept less than you deserved, it woke something up in me. What about Rachel? He sighed. She's her mother's daughter, sees everything through the same lens. I tried to talk to her, explain why your boundaries were reasonable. She said I was taking your side. And were you? I was taking reality's side. But to your mother and sister, that amounts to the same thing. I thought about Rachel, my little sister, who I'd protected and cared for and helped raise, who I loved despite everything, who I thought might, someday, see the light and reach out. She was only 32. There was time for her to grow, to change. But that was her journey to take. I couldn't do it for her. I'm glad we only have people who choose us now. It feels safer. Me too, sweetheart. Me too. I'm glad we only have people who choose us now. It feels safer. Me too, sweetheart. Me too. Part 17, The Final Word. 2 years after the accident, I got a letter in the mail. Real mail. Handwritten, from my mother. I almost threw it away without opening it. But curiosity won. Dear Emma, your father left me. I assume he told you. He says I'm toxic and controlling and that our family is dysfunctional. These are words he learned from his therapist, who has clearly turned him against me. I want you to know that this is your fault. If you hadn't abandoned your family over a minor disagreement, none of this would have happened. Your father wouldn't have gotten these ideas in his head. Rachel wouldn't be struggling. Your niece asks about Daisy constantly, and Rachel has to explain that you've decided to keep them apart. I raised you better than this. I gave you everything. And this is how you repay me? By destroying our family? If you ever decide to stop being selfish and come back to reality, you know where to find me. But don't wait too long. I won't be around forever, and you'll regret this when I'm gone. Mother. I read it twice, waiting for the guilt to hit, for the doubt to creep in, for that old voice to start whispering that maybe she was right, maybe I was being selfish, maybe I should apologize. Nothing came. Just clarity. This letter was the last piece I'd needed, the final confirmation that I'd made the right choice. Because even now, even after 2 years, she couldn't acknowledge any wrongdoing, couldn't see how showing up at a hospital to demand cupcakes while my daughter was in intensive care was anything other than a minor disagreement. She learned nothing, changed nothing, and she never would. I took the letter outside to the fire pit we'd built last summer, struck a match, watched the paper curl and burn, the words turning to ash and smoke. Then I went inside where Daisy was doing homework at the kitchen table, tongue stuck out in concentration, where my father was scheduled to call in an hour for his weekly video chat with her, where my small, chosen family was whole and real and enough. Hey, Mommy. Daisy looked up from her math worksheet. Can Emily come over this weekend? We want to build a blanket fort. Absolutely. And can we make those cookies? The ones with chocolate chips? We can do that. You're the best mom ever. She said it casually. It was just a fact. Not a burden, not an obligation, just love. Simple and true. You're the best daughter ever, I said back. And she was. And we were. And life wasn't perfect, but it was ours. Built on truth instead of obligation, on choice instead of guilt, on boundaries instead of endless sacrifice. 2 years ago, I'd stood in an ICU waiting room and received a message about cupcakes. Today, I was free. Epilogue. The truth. If you're reading this and something inside you recognized the story, if your chest tightened when you read about the hospital, if you felt that familiar weight when the demands came, if you've ever been called dramatic for having needs, I want you to know something. You're not crazy. You're not selfish. You're not too sensitive. When people show you who they are through their actions, believe them. When they prioritize their comfort over your crisis, that's information. When they demand your service but offer no support, that's a choice they're making. And you're allowed to make a choice too. You're allowed to say no. You're allowed to set boundaries. You're allowed to choose yourself and the people who actually love you over the people who just use you. It will feel wrong at first. The guilt will be enormous because they've conditioned you to carry it. But guilt is a teacher. It shows you where your boundaries have been violated so often that enforcing them feels like a sin. Push through anyway. On the other side of that guilt is freedom, is peace, is the life you deserve, the one where your pain matters, your needs are valid, and your love isn't measured by how much of yourself you're willing to sacrifice. I almost lost my daughter before I learned this lesson. Don't wait for a catastrophe to choose yourself. You deserve better right now. Your children deserve to see you honored, not used. And the people who truly love you will prove it not with words, but with showing up when it costs them something. Everyone else? They were never really family anyway. They were just people you happened to be related to. And that's not the same thing, not even close. This is dedicated to every person who's been called dramatic for having feelings,
selfish for having boundaries, and difficult for refusing to set themselves on fire to keep others warm. Your pain is real, your choice to walk away is valid, and your peace is worth protecting. You are enough, exactly as you are, and you always were.